like this episode, please subscribe, share with others, rate and review so we can continue to bring you great programming.
This is The Thing About Cars, a podcast for car enthusiasts and the people who love them.
How do I get rid of the circle?
It's kind of trippy.
It's sort of a James Bond opening.
Isn't that weird? How do I get rid of the circle? That's weird. Maybe we won't do that. All right. We'll just get back to
Dawn. We need to get Dawn a gun. All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Thing About Cars. I'm Mickey Desai, one of your hosts around the table. We have Dawn. How are you, Dawn?
I'm great.
And Tim, how goes it? Trivia czar Tim?
Fantasticamentally.
And Ben, second time I've gotten to see Ben in a weekend, which is a rare treat. How are you doing, Ben?
Oh, I'm doing just great. How about you?
I'm just spiffy. And our special guest for today, old friend and classmate, Susanne Luna Taunton. Susanne, am I pronouncing all that correctly these days?
You pronounced all that great. Yes. Hello. Nice to see you again. Nice to meet everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And Susanne, before we get into our guest segment, let's do the trivia question, and then we'll tell people why you're here.
Okay.
Okay.
Go for it, Tim.
So our trivia question this week. An automobile factory totaling 1.5 million square feet located in Newark, Delaware, produced more than 7 million cars before its 2008 closure. Which of the major U.S. manufacturers owned and operated the plant while in operation? And it's multiple choice. A, American Motors, B, Chrysler, C, Ford, or D, General Motors. So, yeah.
Okay, so one more time. Delaware closed down in 2008, and our choices are AMC and what else?
AMC, Chrysler, Ford, or GM?
AMC, Chrysler, Ford, or GM. Okay. Huh.
So,
no other hints, no other cultural clues or anything?
They made 7 million cars in its lifetime. So.
And its manufacturing plant took up the entire state of Delaware. I mean,
basically, right.
It's just like
that's funny.
And for those who didn't know, that there is a Newark, Delaware. It's not New Jersey.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it definitely
That's
took
cool.
up the entire city of Newark, Delaware.
That's true. It's hilarious.
Right. Yeah.
Just hilarious. Suzanne, welcome to the program. This is The Thing About Cars. So glad you could join us today. Suzanne has been doing some really cool stuff on four wheels, and I'm not going to steal your thunder, Suzanne. What did you do recently?
Well, recently, one of my best friends, Melissa McBean, and I competed in the Rallye Aïcha des Gazelles. Let me get that right. It's French. My high school French is what it is, but the Rallye Aïcha des Gazelles, it is an all-female off-road rally in the desert of Morocco. And prayers to Morocco right now. They just had a horrible earthquake. I was just there in March in Marrakesh. But it's an 8-day off-road rally, 2,500 kilometers, map and compass, no GPS, no cell phone, no Apple Watch. It's all map, it's all compass, and shortest distance wins. So
that's crazy.
It's all navigation and all female and very French, which is great because there was a beer tent at the bivouac, which was nice. But it was
not wine or champagne. That's not
there was
French.
wine. There was definitely wine and beer. It was intense, but it is just an amazing. Started by women in France. It's an amazing race, and I guess what's really cool about it is it's a competition. There are people, you want to do the best you can, but it's also when you see someone stuck on a dune in Morocco, you stop and help. Right? It's not cutthroat competition. It's helping each other. It's lifting each other up. It's all about perseverance when you're stuck, when you're lost, when you're on the wrong side of that dang mountain that you knew was not there a minute ago. And you're trying to find your way back. It's partnership. And it's taking care of your car. And this is the thing about cars. We were in a 2017 Hilux, I think. 2017, 18 Toyota Hilux. That we babied the heck out of that thing. diesel, which you can't get in the US. And let me tell you, a diesel Hilux can go up a dune like nobody's business. The torque on that thing, you
Really?
just put it in low two, and I could climb any dune out there.
Nice.
It was amazing.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
As far as what type of vehicles are competing in this, is this sort of like when we see the Dakar rally or a WRC rally? What's it like?
It's not like the Dakar. The Dakar rally is all about speed.
Okay.
Right. So you see these guys just going breakneck speeds through the desert. This competition's all about shortest distance.
Okay.
And taking care of your cars. So because I was coming from the US and my partner was coming from Abu Dhabi. That's a different part of the story. We met in the deserts of the UAE, but driving Jeeps off road, that's a different podcast. But she and I had to rent the Hilux in Morocco. So there are reputable people you rent from and deck out your car with your colors. There's also a contingent that ferries over from France, and so they all bring their own cars. So a lot, as you would expect, a lot of Toyotas, a few Jeeps. Jeeps were well represented. A Prado won it. So there was a Prado that won the competition. The Morocco team had a Prado. So again, a lot of Toyotas, mainly because they're easy to fix and they've been in Europe for a while. The cool thing is you had a mechanic station at the bivouac. So every night when we came back to the campsite, there was a mechanic's tent, and you drove your car to the mechanic's tent. And in very bad French, I tried to tell the mechanic, Melissa tried to tell the mechanic what was right, what was wrong, and they would go over it and look at it every night. So you did have some support there.
So I've got a quick question or two here. You say you rented the truck that you used to do the thing in? So you didn't have to have your own truck. It could just be a rental.
Yeah. So, and in the world of racing, that's a fairly common thing.
I lost audio with you guys.
Yeah, I had no idea. Can you hear us now, Susanne? Editing time. Okay. It's 10:06. So I mean, you say it's a fairly common practice, but this is news to me. I thought racing crews had to have their own gear. Looks like we lost her. She's locked up. Let's try again. Bad internet, Susanne.
And we're back.
Can you hear us?
All right. I think I lost y'all for just a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So,
okay. I still can't hear you.
We all hear each other.
Yeah. Yes, we're all able to hear.
Let me try this.
Got to fix your audio selection. So let's go into chat here and see if we can point some selections your way.
Hang on.
Maybe your speakers didn't move to
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
You got them?
Okay. Can you hear us now?
Great.
Sorry.
Okay, great. So a couple quick questions. First of all, I didn't know that you could rent the vehicle, and we're not talking just like a normal Toyota Hilux. We're talking about something specifically outfitted for dune racing.
Yeah.
Okay. And Tim, you say this is a common practice?
Oh yeah. I mean, in the world of amateur racing, it's very common to have race car prep shops. From production sedans that are raced to vehicles that are made just for racing, like formula cars, sports racers, and even in the world of professional racing, there's a lot of arrive and drive programs, as they say, where people mostly write a check and go drive a race car and go home.
That's liability insurance. Just saying.
Yeah. You break it, you buy it.
Yeah.
Good point.
It has to be. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
For the Gazelle, Suzanne, so there's not even any posted road. They just basically let you loose in the morning, and you're supposed to show up at point B in the shortest manner possible.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a map. It's at 1 to 100,000 view. You get a set of coordinates first thing in the morning, and you plot from where you are to those coordinates, and yalla, you go. And then And then when you get there, they'll give you the rest of the coordinates for the rest of the day. So you've got to at least make it to the first one. And then there's usually 7 to 9 coordinates per day. So you're usually out there 8 to 12 hours. And
how many miles did you say? How many miles?
I need to look it up. They said I think we did 4,000 kilometers.
Wow.
In 8 days.
No roads.
Well, now there are roads out there, right? So there was one time where we figured out we were on the wrong side of the mountain. And we knew to get back to the other right side of the mountain was going to take us way too long because it took us forever to get where we were. And there was this little road in front of us. And so we dodged out to the road, zipped up the highway, got back in the desert, and made our flag. So there were roads.
Right.
Technically, you weren't really supposed to go on them, but there was no rule against it. So if you got lost, you hopped on a road.
I was going to say, but wouldn't it make sense to just be on a road?
But where we were in the desert, you couldn't get to where we needed to be with it.
Right. And it's about covering the shortest distance, not the quickest travel time.
Yeah, so, it was shortest distance.
Shortest distance. I'm getting that in my head now.
Yeah.
But drawing a straight line through the desert, I imagine that's much harder than it appears.
But it is. Are they tracking
is.
you? Are they tracking you?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We had this huge system of where they could call you. You could call them if there was emergency. You had 3 different buttons for mechanical versus medical, right? So there was very safety conscious. But the thing that surprised me most about Morocco is it's not all sandy desert. We drove over some of the nastiest rocks I've ever seen, and it looked like a moonscape, right? It looked like we were on Mars. You could have filmed The Martian on where we were looking at.
That's where they probably did
outcrops. It probably is, but rocky outcrops and nasty tire piercing bushes, and the terrain was very, very different. We did hit sandy dunes on a couple of days, but some days was rocks, some days was very volcanic, ashy type of stuff. They had a huge volcanic crater where we were, because we were in the southeast part of Morocco. So we were very south into the east. Close to Algeria. Close to Algeria. One of the maps even's like, don't go here. This is Algeria. Please do not get lost over here.
You will never return. They don't accept our passports. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I'm reading the website, and it says, created in 1990, the event brings together women aged 18 to 71 from around the world every year in the Moroccan desert. There's no selection criteria except determination, whatever their age or your background, whatever, how well you can drive, whatever. And it's based on true values such as tolerance, solidarity, and perseverance, where respect for the host country is given priority through social actions. And it's an event that cares about the environment. It's the only rally raid in the world with ISO 14001 certification. I don't know what that means exactly, but
they do a lot. All of the water bottles, right? So I mean, we took 2 liters, 4 liters of water. So I don't know how many liters. We took a lot of water out of the desert every day. And you bring back the empty water bottles, and that plastic gets recycled in country, and they use that plastic to make things and do things. So all of the plastic, it goes to a recycle program. It was actually one of the coolest things I've seen was when they were showing what they make out of it. So, oops.
I have to ask, how much did it cost you?
Melissa and I were actually kind of divvying that up a little bit ago because I still owe her money. Are y'all still there? Because
yes. Okay. Yeah, we are waiting with bated breath. Yes, absolutely.
I think it cost us to enter as a team probably $8,000.
Okay.
And it's a lot of the teams in France, they get sponsorships. It is very well known. The media coverage in Europe is extensive. The media coverage in France is just a ton. And so they get all this media coverage. A lot of the teams are sponsored by companies, big companies, small companies. People raise money. People donate things. Being an American and a South African, we don't get as much media coverage. So we sort of funded it through our savings accounts, which our husbands really appreciated.
Yeah.
How much to rent the vehicle?
Sure. Yeah.
How much to rent the vehicle?
I think the vehicle was about $6,000, $6,000 or $7,000. Okay. So it was not cheap.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
still
then the airfare over and wow.
8,000 for how many days worth of racing throughout the desert? I think we're not saying anything that sounds terribly outrageous to me.
Well, I mean, and it's you have to remember. So it's the bivouac was we slept in tents every night. So you brought your own tent, you brought your own bedding and all that, which we rented from the car company. So every night you're popping up your tent. That $8,000 for most of the nights gets you, bathrooms trucked in. So you've got a flush toilet, you've got a hot shower. It's still rudimentary, but hey, a hot shower after 9 hours in the Moroccan desert was great.
Sure.
It gets you 3 meals a day, right? They're either going to give you an MRE type of meal or you're getting breakfast and dinner. So it gets you all of that. Gets you a lot of Moroccan coffee, Moroccan tea, which is amazing. And it got us English translators. There were, I think, total 6 of us that were only English speakers. And we had 2 translators that kind of hung out with us to make sure. My French is okay, but when you're talking, don't drive through the cemetery or the farm or and you're getting the details.
Yeah.
We needed the translators were really cool.
Yeah,
so that 8,000 does actually give you,
Yeah, those are phrases that don't show up in your typical high school French class.
Yeah, right.
I can only say 2 things in French. Oui, that's it.
Good.
Je m'appelle Don.
But I didn't know I didn't know what a cultural phenomenon this was when we got there. Just the camaraderie, the amazing, just even when you didn't understand each other, if one of you was stuck on a dune in the desert and the other was trying to help you, there were hugs, there were tears, there were, if you'd been shoveling for an hour and then we rock up and say, hey, we can help pull you off, there's tears and crying and hugging and it was really cool.
Yeah. Nah, I can't wait to see some pictures. I'm looking at the website again. Some of the shots are just amazing. It looks like way too much fun. There's a person here with a pink Jeep, or mostly pink Jeep.
Yeah. If we're hoping to do this again in 2025. So, if anybody wants to sponsor, hint, hint, wink, wink, we are happy to take that. But we'll put a sticker on our car. But we're actually looking for sponsorships to go back and do it in 20. Now that we know more about it, we can kind of go into it a little more prepared. But
well, coincidentally, the thing about cars is trying to turn ourselves into more of a television production, and we need some things to shoot and to bring to a video audience. So hopefully if luck is with us, we can come shoot you guys.
That would be so
awesome.
cool.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Susanne, thank you for being our guest and telling us about the rally. You say you do stuff with Jeeps too?
Yeah. So I have a 1984 CJ7. And my husband has a 1979, 89 Land Cruiser. I don't know. It's an older Land Cruiser. Yeah. And we typically will, drive up to North Carolina, Tennessee, places where we can go rock crawling and off-roading and things like that. So definitely.
Well, nice. Speaking out of turn probably here, I would welcome you to come back and join us on mic with this podcast anytime. Please be a regular part of this panel if you'd like to be.
I would love to, because then we can get into my trips to Botswana and all the cool stuff we do in Land Cruisers over there.
That would be cool. So the thing about cars, for any listener who hasn't already picked up on this, we are a very diverse cast of people who just like to get together once a week to geek out about the world of cars and driving. As far as I know, we're the only podcast, the only automotive podcast that has had women on mic with us since day one. And we've been doing this for a little over 6 years now. I can think of a handful of circumstances where it was just guys on mic, and usually because the women were off doing something way more exciting than the rest of us. So, but that's one of our pride points, for me at least, is to be able to say that to folks, is that we are diverse and we want to make sure that everybody has as much fun as they could possibly have with cars. So again, Susanne, if you'd care to join us again, please do be a regular. I can add you to the channel so you can be aware of our scheduling.
I would love to be a regular participant. Awesome. Because I think you're right. What I saw women who'd never driven in the desert before get behind the wheel of a car and just haul it up a dune, no fear. Maybe that was bad, but they drove well. These were fierce women out there fixing cars. We're helping each other fix tires. We're duct taping and bailing, wiring them together, limp them back to the bivouac. So yeah, women in cars, we're awesome.
That sounds to me, if someone's never been behind the wheel, it sounds like a perfect environment to get behind the wheel because there's no other traffic to run into. I don't mean that as badly as it sounds, but I mean, if you're out there in the middle of nowhere, you don't have intersections and cross traffic and things like that to deal with. It's a perfect place to just put your hands on the wheel and go.
Yeah, just drive.
It is. Just drive.
That's awesome. Susanne, at the end of our every guest segment, as we've warned you, there are 4 questions that we get to ask you. And the first question, let me, before I'm getting ahead of myself, does anyone else have anything they want to ask Susanne before we wrap?
Well, not as much of a question, but I mean, I skimmed over the site, and read all the details and things too. And the impression I'm left with is that this, to me, sounds like the most incredibly positive and wholesome motor racing event ever. and I dig that. I dig all this stuff about it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They do. And, to give the Gazelles a plug, they have a foundation that while we're in Morocco, they have something called the Corps des Gazelles, and they go out and provide doctors and clothing, and they go out and do a lot of stuff in the community. So there's that part of it too. So just to give them a plug for that. But yeah, no, it's a pressure cooker while you're in it, but once a Gazelle, always a Gazelle, and it's a great group of women.
I may need to talk to these guys.
Where else do they go? So Morocco, what's the tour look like?
I can send you the map. They've done it in Morocco the last, I think, 10, 15 years.
Okay, so Morocco is there.
Morocco is their base. They have a great relationship with the government and the king and everything to do it there. Now, there is a U.S. Rebel Rally that my friend and I are actually thinking about trying to do, but it's like twice as much. And it's in the west. It's in the west of the U.S. And so you may hear more about the Rebel Rally from me, but that's something that I'm interested in doing as well.
Gotcha.
Rebel Rally. We'll keep our ears open for that for sure.
So Susanne, during this competition, did you ever get stuck?
Actually, we did not. Knock on wood. We did not get stuck. Like I said, Melissa and I met in the deserts of Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I lived in Dubai for 4 years and drove a Jeep off-road dune bashing every weekend. And that's kind of how we met. So desert driving, we're very good at. Did we get lost? Yes. There was an occasional getting lost, but we didn't get stuck.
That's fascinating because I was in Abu Dhabi last year and it's stunning. It's just stunning. I want to go back. We didn't make it to Dubai, but I really, really want to go back. Abu Dhabi is just special. It's
beautiful.
Really
it's so beautiful. Yeah. And if you get out in the deserts of Swayhan, and there's a lot of deserts, we
were supposed to. We were supposed to go out for almost like a whole day desert thing. And then the president of the country died while we were there. And every activity was completely shut down. And the country was in mourning. And we were able to still continue our meetings and our conference, but we had to completely cancel all our evening events and our big day in the desert. And I was so bummed. Because we were going to do dune buggies. I was signed up for that.
It's amazing.
I would have been like, I don't care if the man's dead or not. Serve me my breakfast. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Not in that country. You better be kidding.
Right. It's not a democracy.
No.
It's a wonderful place to live. It's absolutely wonderful.
It's
I've had
beautiful.
the best 4 years. I had the best 4 years there. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Susanne, how did you first get into off-roading?
I married a Jeep guy.
Okay.
That was my first, John and I foolishly got married at 22. The good news is we're still married. Okay. And he's a Jeep. And so I can look out in my driveway right now and we've got a CJ5, a CJ7, a CJ6, a Land Cruiser, and 2 Fords.
Oh my God.
So you have a Jeep dealership.
We have a Jeep dealership in our driveway. And then we went to Dubai. Honestly, that really is what got me hooked when we lived in Dubai, because I had a little CJ, or not CJ, I had a YJ, I think it was, 2013, and a little sport that I drove in the desert. He had a a 4-door he drove in the desert. Yeah, separate cars, happy marriage. And we went dune bashing with a club. Now you went with a club so that you learned how to do it, right? You didn't roll your car, because that does happen. We went with a club and learned to be newbies, intermediate, and then within a year and a half, we were both marshals, leading other silly people into the desert, following us like we knew what we were doing. And desert driving is different from rock crawling. If you've never done desert driving, your RPMs are at 7,000. I mean, you're pegging, you're in 4-wheel, low, second gear, foot on the floor, going up a dune as fast as you can go to get traction, cresting over the top, and then you're doing 35, 45 miles an hour through these dunes. I mean, you're flying.
Do you have
So you should know what you're doing then. This is not for
you
the,
need to know. This is you need to
newbie.
go with you need to go with a club. You need to learn how to do it, which is what we did.
Okay.
We went up. We had to,
Suzanne,
And
are
a
you
lot of
required to have a helmet? Hold on, Don. Suzanne, are you required to have a helmet? Okay.
Oh gosh, no. Seat belts are nice.
Wow.
And by the time I left Dubai, my Jeep had 35-inch tires, snorkel. There's a winch. Yeah.
Go ahead, Don. Sorry.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, a lot of, especially southern France and Spain. I mean, Morocco's right there. Yeah, I could see this. How cool. Was it a lot of also European, like Italian women, German?
Yeah.
And other other North African maybe, or
there were. I didn't see a lot of the other African countries. A lot of there was a big Swiss contingent that was there. And the Moroccan team won, which was kind of special.
That was going to be my next question. Who won? Okay, the
Moroccan team won. But they also had different categories. Like we were in the truck 4x4 categories. They had an EV category.
Wow.
And they had a side-by-side category. So I don't know, the rules were different for those, obviously, but they had different categories and different types of cars. So the side-by-sides look fun. Those are just big overgrown dune buggies. Those look fun. Oh my gosh, that's
very
so
cool.
Fun.
All right, is it time for 4 questions?
We can do it.
Everyone's like, yes, let's do it. All right, Suzanne, question number 1, of course, what is your dream car?
Okay, I have completely been geeking out over the new F-150 Raptor R.
Really?
I don't know if you've seen it. See, I want to go do the Rebel Rally in the desert, right? So this is 700 horsepower. So who needs 700 horsepower? Oh my God, it's 700 horsepower. It's a 5.2 liter. It's got like over 600 pounds of torque. It has all the bells and whistles for off-road driving. It comes with 37-inch tires. It is the sexiest desert beast I've ever seen. Sorry. So I have been geeking out about the Raptor R. It's just a beast.
Very cool. What is your next road trip going to be?
We are actually planning our next Botswana trip. So what my husband and I do is we go to, I'm a bit of an amateur photographer. So we go to Botswana, we rent a Land Cruiser usually, or a Hilux, kitted out with camping gear, refrigerator, everything. And then we hit the ground running and we start at one end of Botswana and we camp our way to the other end of Botswana. And a lot of campsites, a lot of camping, a lot of elephants. So that's our usual work. We just did one in June. So that's cool.
Beautiful.
And Botswana is a very kind country. It's amenable to this. You can
do this really easily. And as long as you know how to deflate your tires, because I think we ran at 15 PSI the whole time, because the sand is really deep on those back roads. So as long as you know how to deflate your tires, it's easy driving. Well, I'll get to your next question because
so we're running out of time. So no, that's cool. I appreciate this. If we do run out of time, I'll set us up with another quick segment of time so we can finish. But what's the most fascinating thing you've seen on the road or in someone's garage?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. So many things. So I'm going to go back to Botswana. We were on a tarmac road in Botswana. We missed our turn. We turned around on the shoulder of the road. At which point, once we turn the car around, there's an elephant standing in front of our car, looking at us, and taking his big trunk and whacking our car on the hood with his big trunk. Just whacking it. And we're sitting in the car frozen because, he's bigger than the freaking car. And he's just whacking it. And we're like, okay, we're just going to sit here for a minute.
Yeah. I'd be like, get your car out of my driveway. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Awesome.
I think it wanted to play with you. It said, let's play.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. The fourth question is always something random, silly, sometimes stupid, but I think we're going to pick just totally, I should roll a die for these questions or something, but your question, Susanne, is what is the best type of cheese?
Oh, see, that one's difficult. But I'll give you a quick answer because my favorite go-to cheese, being lactose intolerant, is something called Drunken Goat.
I've had that. It's good stuff.
It's good stuff.
It's very good.
If you're lactose intolerant, go for the Drunken Goat. It's very good.
Nice.
Awesome. Susanne, it has been an absolute joy having you as our guest today.
A pleasure.
I will add you to our little communications channels. But before we wrap the episode, we do have a trivia question to answer.
Yes.
Tim, you want to take us through that again real quick? We've got about 5 minutes left.
Okay, sure. We'll take it from the top again, just to refresh everyone's memory. So the question is, an automobile factory totaling 1.5 million square feet located in Newark, Delaware, produced more than 7 million cars before its 2008 closure. Which of the major U.S. manufacturers owned and operated the plant while in operation? Was it A, American Motors, B, Chrysler, C, Ford, or D, General Motors? Who wants to dive in first?
I'll dive in. Here's my logic. I think it's Ford because it seemed like Ford up until that time had a lot of plants around the country. And it seems like Delaware could be a place where it also sent a lot of cars and manufacturing over to Europe. So I'm going to say Ford.
Okay. Mickey?
I'm going to say AMC for no good reason at all. For some reason, my brain I don't have any logic. I just AMC.
Okay. Ben?
Partly wild ass guess, partly just kind of my gut. Gonna go with Chrysler, and if it closed in 2008, it could not have been AMC.
Good logic.
Right. I've already lost that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And Susanne?
I'll finish it out and say General Motors.
Okay.
It was the last one left. Nobody chose it. And I don't, it might have been Ford because they were closing a lot of plants about that time, but I just didn't think they had anything up there. So we'll just say General Motors.
Yep. And actually it is Chrysler.
Ooh.
Ben.
So good job, Ben.
Thanks.
So for his winning answer this time, Ben gets absolutely nothing. So.
Oh, man.
Wisely.
Yay, Ben.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for being on this episode. And thanks to our listeners, as always, for listening to us. If you have questions or suggestions about the show, find us at thethingaboutcars.com. In the meantime, stay safe out there, and we'll see you with another episode in about a week. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Thing About Cars. We'll see you on the road.